I was stuck between a 6-hour flight and a 10-hour flight with a 10-hour layover in between. Is 10 hours enough time to get out of the airport and explore the city, or is it better to stay put and play it safe to make sure you don't miss that connecting flight?
Cutting it a little close. So I'm gonna try to make this flight moving as fast as possible.
Is it worth it? So I already hear y'all asking, how much fun could you actually have in 10 hours? For those 10 hours, rather than just sitting in the airport, let's get out, have an adventure, and see what Istanbul has to offer. I did the research, so you won't have to. I spent 10 hours exploring Istanbul to see if that is indeed enough time to make the most of it, and if you can make your flight on the way back too. Let's go.
The plan is to stop and get some breakfast first. So you know I gotta get a little coffee. And then we're gonna walk about 3.5K and see the city today. Should be fun.
In order to make the most out of my 10 hours, I chose a guided tour, knowing that I had never really been to this city. I didn't want to risk getting lost, getting turned around. I chose to go with a tour group that would show me around and have a little bit more structure to the day.
Headset. You listen us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we get the tour, get the instructions as we walk around, man. Should be cool.
But at any point in time, you can sign a waiver and they will let you loose to do your thing and go on with it.
I got a little bit of time before we start moving on here, so I'm gonna take a little walk, see what's happening. And I know you would ask, why bother taking a 10-hour tour? For me, it makes hella sense to get out and see if this is a city I'd like to visit again, and maybe do a 10-day tour. You know what I'm saying? Just to whet my appetite. I'm also a bit of a history nerd, so knowing that like Constantinople, literally, this is it. So checking out some of that and seeing how it has evolved, just getting a taste of something different. And I will say, so far, yeah, I could be convinced to come back and do a week here or so.
I had previously gone on one of these Tour Istanbul excursions. You can check out that video right after this one. But this time around, with a little bit more time, I was able to go on the extended tour, which included breakfast, a guided tour, lunch, and a whole bunch of sightseeing. Now, I won't bore you with all the details of the tour. That's something I'm hyped about, but you may not be so in tune with the Ottoman Empire. So let me know down in the comments if that's something you'd want to hear more about. But for today, just the highlights. I got to check out the Egyptian obelisk.
3,400 years old. I mean, come on, dude.
The Serpentine Column, Topkapi Palace.
Try not to get left behind, but we're inside Topkapi Palace, and my tour guide just let us know. So this square right here is where they would punish people and behead them. And you see that little stone right there is where they would display the head of the most recent victim, person to be disciplined, however you want to call them. And you did not want to be displayed out there. Oh snap, okay. I'm getting lost. All right, let's go catch them. Just thought that was kind of cool. Wanted to share that. That shows you how far back this goes. Oh, dim. Okay, let me catch my group. Behind me is the Blue Mosque. We're gonna get you go inside. I'm gonna go inside, please. Okay. So this place is wild. I mean, I can't even. I've seen some cool stuff. I've seen some old stuff. I ain't seen nothing quite like this. It is dope. This actually really is reminding me how much I wanted to go see the Colosseum and different parts of ancient Rome. So, you know, Italy wasn't really high on my list, but after seeing Constantinople. Yeah, I think I gotta go see Rome, bro. And that's kind of the point. Without taking this 10-hour tour, I wouldn't have even thought. It just sparked some of the imagination, some of the memories that had always been there. And buddy, I'm so glad I did. But you let me know. Would you have rather just stay in the airport, kick it in the lounge, have some wine? No shade, but whew, this is kind of sick too, man. But yo, I got 5 minutes before this group moves on. So let's bust a move. I'm not really sure which gate to get. I don't know. Okay, these are the windows. All right, we're gonna find them and hopefully not miss the group, not miss my flight. Does it make sense to go with a tour group or just do it on your own? And there are some pros and cons either way. So I'll definitely say going with the group, there's for sure an agenda and there's a predetermined route and script. At the same time, a major con is that you're gonna get all sorts of factoids and little tidbits that you may not normally get if you were just going self-guided, and you wouldn't have to necessarily get any of the books. The other side is self-guided means you could take as much or as little time at any of the spots as you want. And if you want to break away from your plan, if you're really enjoying any one thing, stop, soak it in. And more often than not, I generally tend to go for self-guided. However, the biggest pro here is that they're going to make sure I get back on time for my flight. And that is huge. These folks will absolutely, you can sign a waiver and go do your own thing, but they will make sure that you'll see all the sights, you'll get breakfast, you'll learn a little bit, you'll see all the highlights, right? Like, are they tourist traps? For sure. Like, look around, bro. It's real crowded out here. This is not an original idea. Everybody is out here today. That said, knowing that I only have 10 hours and the plane will leave with or without me, these folks have scanned my boarding pass and make sure that, yep, we will get you back in time with 25-30 minutes to spare to get through security, passport control, and get back on the flight. So y'all let me know in the comments, do you prefer self-guided or would you go for a tour group and kind of follow the mobs? There's pros and cons either or. I'd like to hear what y'all think. In the meantime, that's my group. They're about to take off. Let's go. So this line is to go see the Hagia Sophia Mosque, and it is long, bro, because I don't have that much time to just wait in line like that. That is one other benefit of being with the group, is that the tickets have already been purchased and accounted for, right? So there was no separate line to buy tickets to go to any of the museums, see any of the spots. We already had tickets. That's lovely, because I could imagine if I saw something doing a DIY tour and I'd be all the way put off by, well, let me get into this line to buy the tickets to get into that line to get in, and how much time did I lose? So for a short trip, buddy, this can't be beat. Is 10 hours enough to make a visit worthwhile? And if you're asking me, absolutely. So I could have either gone one of two ways. If you were gonna go self-guided, buddy, I could have totally spent 10 hours, maybe 5 hours, just exploring every bit of this palace, right, in the surrounding area. But at the same time, the tour group was real cool because I got a sample of the city, the palace, the old, the new, the history, and all that. And it was such a lovely mixed bag. So, is 10 hours enough? Yeah, I would say so. Depending on the adventure you're looking to have, of course. For this trip, knowing that, oh, there's the alarm. There's the alarm right there. And I am exactly where I need to be, right on time. But that speaks to the real question is, would you rather do it on your own or take a tour? I feel with how specific and what the stakes are on this trip, yeah, it makes sense to take a tour group, so I just don't lose any luggage, like, any of that. Now, if I were completely going solo and this was my final destination, I'd probably just do it myself and go at my own pace, spend a little bit more time here, a little less time there. But y'all let me know in the comments. That's been most of my time here in Turkey, my 10 hours in Turkey. So far, I've used 7.5, almost 8 of those hours. We're gonna stop for some lunch, head back to the airport, and hopefully there should be plenty of time to get through passport control and make that flight.
And I wish that's where the video could have ended. Just finish the tour, get back on the bus at the airport, and we're all done. Unfortunately, the group split, lunch went long, and my flight was the first one out, and it was gonna be tight getting back to the airport.
Update, cutting it a little close. So, I'm gonna try to make this flight moving as fast as possible. Oh, sorry, babe. Out of my hands. But where there's a will, there's a way. We're gonna run. So after dashing across the airport, fast lane through security, 10-hour tour in Turkey. Was it worth it? Well, I just made it for the final boarding call, so there's that. Fantastic tour, but maybe leave a little bit more of wiggle room. I knew it was gonna be tight. They said I'd have 20-25 minutes, and they usually get in a little early. But we actually came in about 10 minutes late. So there's that.
Not to be dramatic, there was a little bit of time between when I got in line and when the plane actually left. They weren't closing the door and taking off just as I made it. So that was fine, but it was a little closer than I would like, considering I was traveling with my wife and kids, who stayed at the airport in one of their many lovely lounges where they could eat, have easy access to a bathroom, take a nap if they wanted to. There's a playground for the kids and all sorts of other amenities. This was definitely a little tighter. I thought I would have been back with half an hour to spare. That was not the case.
Did I make my flight? Yes. Was it closer than it needed to be? Also, yes. So you'll have to decide what makes sense for you. Thankfully, this time I was moving solo, so I was able to move quickly. I did get an escort through security and book it through the terminal. I would definitely not advise that if I were taking the whole family. If you have smaller kids, definitely do not try that. That is way too close. Zero margins for error.
If you're even kind of curious, I'd say go for it. Be cautious of the time that you have and have a great time. But y'all let me know. What would you decide to do? You've seen the adventure. You've seen what's possible. Till next time, y'all. It's been real.